and we have started our comments coming in. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Good evening. Good evening, Shretama.
Okay, so yes, a very, very, very good evening to sir and to all the viewers who are watching with us. And we know how much we all are apprehensive about this and how much we are excited about this. And we are hoping that we'll have a commendable session. And not hoping, actually, we are kind of sure because we have heard Dattani sir live in the EPJ Lit Festival, and we know how amazing a speaker he is. And it's going to be a very exhilarating session. And okay, so let's begin. Lavani, please take on.
Start off the questions. Okay. Formalities. Hello everyone. Welcome to MM3. Sorry. Hello everyone. Welcome to Quarantine Stories. And after a pretty rocky start, so I don't think that Tanisa needs any introduction for many of our viewers here because we have been reading his plays in our syllabus in Calcutta University and more. And we are just like, I think we are a huge bunch of just fans, just like joining up here at Quarantine Stories. The comments are all here.
Pouring in already, right?
Pouring in, yes. And without further ado, I start off questions. We originally kind of thought this particular conversation would be like a very Pride special thing, considering that the last month was Pride. But then we are also taking into consideration it's not quite Pride month. So we are going to have a mix of questions, both Pride and...
And because we are having Dattani sir, and we couldn't keep our questions limited. We just have so many questions.
Oh God.
Bring them on.
And I'm very sure that the comments section will bring another barrage of questions, sir. So you have to be prepared.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah. So we are beginning with talking about queerness. A lot of your plays have closeted gay characters. Like, there is a list of it in Muggy Night in Mumbai and Do the Needful, in Bravely for the Queen. I don't need to give the list anymore. So the first question I have is, like, these were mostly 90s plays. 90s, early 2000s. And today, in 2020, this is a post-377 getting knocked down sort of a period, which was itself considered a landmark date in equality, in paper. So what do you think? Like, will you be writing these plays differently if you were sitting down to write them today? These characters differently, or are the social situations not that changed despite legalities?
Yeah, well, I don't think the social situation is very different because, of course, things are changing and things are slow to change. Like, it doesn't permeate so easily into society. But to answer your question, would I write differently? Yes, because I did just about 7-8 years ago. I wrote a play. Actually, it was a short story which I developed into a play. It's about these two middle-aged men who have a Facebook romance, and then it's just a push and pull of when they meet and you know the antagonism which they have and everything. And it's I think it's a great period in India where it's not just homosexuality but queerness, the entire umbrella of queerness, lesbi, gay, transgender, curious, whatever you want to call it, or just plain sexuality. I think it's wonderful. It's a very nice transition period where we're being a little bit more expressive about who we are as sexual creatures and as gendered creatures as well. We're sort of reflecting on these things. So it's a very exciting time. But what I hear when you ask that question, actually, the way I hear it is we need more younger playwrights who are sort of very much, and I think it's very, very important for any kind of socio-cultural movement to have young artists sort of bringing in new blood, new ideas, and sort of saying, "Here we are," you know. And I think this is very important that we do have them. So that is really the question which is on debate: is where are the young playwrights? Because I know there's a tremendous amount of talent out there, but it's such a sort of, I mean, why aren't we producing these plays? Why aren't we mentoring these plays? Why don't we see more young writers and directors sort of on a main stage, right? So I think these are exciting questions to ask, because unless we have that, it's things are not going to move forward.
Absolutely.
Shalini?
Yes. So I think taking a cue from that answer of yours, sir, I was thinking, I was reading your Me and My Plays, and as you were talking about, we need more younger playwrights and directors to come up. So there was this line which I really, really loved, and I enjoyed reading that part. I'll just want to read that one line out, and I just ask a question from there. Give me a second. Yes. So you have told, you have written that at the age of 12, I learned the benefits of having a large cast in a play. They were sure to bring in their friends and relations as the much needed audience. So, taking a cue from this, if one were to start as a playwright today, what would be your suggestion, and how would you think they should go about it?
You know, I think theater is so much about community, and I think community begins with your family and friends. So there is absolutely no harm in sort of gathering your community, whether it's friends or family. Like I remember when I started at the age of, I think I did a play on my friend's terrace, and the audiences were our relatives. You know, my friend's parents, because it was his terrace, and his brothers and sisters, and everyone would just come and be a part of our audience. I think that's, it begins there, and then of course it spreads from there to a larger community. So I think thank you for pointing that out. That I think it's great, because I remember I was 18 or 19 when I directed my first full-length play, and I had a cast of 22. There were 22 actors on stage. So we had 3 houseful shows, because everyone's family and friend and friends came to see it, and I thought that was wonderful to have that kind of a support. So yes, I know I said that in a humorous fashion, but I think there's a lot of truth in that. That a large cast really helped, because it just means that there's so much more outreach in your community.
So we'll be going back to our set of queer questions. So Laboni, please take over.
I am picking up from that beautiful word, community. So I was thinking, when you were writing plays centering on queer characters, did you happen to interact with queer characters in real life, talk to them about not only their lifestyles but their lives, how they're influenced? And I was wondering, is there any anecdote or anything you can share by which some real life incident has influenced your plays so much? I was thinking of community because I was thinking that, is playwriting a solo job or a very community job, a lot of people pitching? So I was thinking in that line.
Yeah.
So, sir.
Well, I think the craft of writing, if you look at it, that may be a bit of a solo job. At the most, you may collaborate with someone and share the credit. I'm a terrible collaborator. The few attempts I made at collaborating were disastrous, so I left it at that. But the craft may be solo, or may depend on one or two individuals. But you're absolutely right in saying it is a community effort, because where am I drawing inspiration from? It's either from my own being, or from the people around me, right? And it can't be a superficial kind of interaction where you go with a set of questions and then you've got to be a living, breathing part of it. And I think that reflects in the writing as well. That how much of it is really within your time and place, and how much of it is a part of your. I mean, of course, your imagination is engaged in the sense that you do not, when you interact with community, you're not sort of biographically representing them. Right? Like if you look at a play like On a Muggy Night in Mumbai, I can say, oh, that's my friend out there, or that's me out there, or whatever, right? But biographically, they're completely different. Only I would know. Even my friends wouldn't know that this is, because after a point, it's not about being faithful to a person or a character, right? It's also you have to serve your imagination, and you have to serve your craft, and none of these are in neat little boxes separate from one another. And that's where the word community is the most expansive and inclusive, because theater at the end of the day is communion. There is a communion happening, and that's what makes it so different from cinema and television. Because cinema too, of course, there is some form of communion when you go to a movie theater with friends and you're seated in a darkened room and watching all these images with a group of people, right? But I think theater, the soul of theater is communion, right? That is the spirit. Like, you make the effort to go to a venue, and you make the effort to sit there and see the play, and then you want to interact maybe with the cast backstage, or you want to go out to dinner with your friends and family and discuss the play, or or say, oh, I hated that play, or well, even if it is that, it's still very much a communion, isn't it? And I think that's the difference, and I think that's what makes theater so precious, to me at least, and to a whole lot of other people. And it is, at the end of the day, it is about community. It can never be solo. Nobody can say, I'm working on this solo, because you just don't know where the influences are coming. You may have one particular task, like playwriting or directing or acting or whatever. You have to honor that. But I don't think it's a compartment that's separate from the community at all.
হ্যালো এভরিওয়ান, গল্প 101 এর পক্ষ থেকে আপনাদের স্বাগত। কোয়ারেন্টাইন স্টোরিজের অফিসিয়াল ইউটিউব চ্যানেল এই গল্প 101। আজকে আপনারা যে আড্ডাটি দেখলেন, এই আড্ডার যে পরবর্তী অংশ, সেটি খুব তাড়াতাড়ি আপনাদের সামনে আসতে চলেছে আমাদের পরের এপিসোডে, এবং সেটা খুব 3-4 দিনের মধ্যে এই সপ্তাহেই বেরোবে। তো আপনারা তৈরি থাকুন তার জন্য, এবং অবশ্যই আপনাদের যেটা করতে হবে সেটা হলো আমাদের এই চ্যানেলটা সাবস্ক্রাইব করতে হবে। যে বেল আইকনটা রয়েছে সেই ঘন্টিটি প্লিজ বাজিয়ে দেবেন, তাহলে আপনাদের কাছে সমস্ত আমাদের কন্টেন্টের নোটিফিকেশন আপনি আপ চলে আসবে। তো আমাদের সাপোর্ট করুন, সঙ্গে থাকুন, এবং ভিডিওটি অবশ্যই লাইক করবেন, কেমন লাগলো কমেন্টে জানাবেন। ও হ্যাঁ, আর কোন কোন মানুষদের সঙ্গে আমাদের আড্ডা আপনারা আরো দেখতে চান সেটা অবশ্যই জানান, কারণ এরপর আরো বেশ কিছু ইন্টারেস্টিং মানুষদের সঙ্গে আমাদের আড্ডার ভিডিও আপনাদের কাছে এভাবেই আমরা নিয়ে আসবো। তো তৈরি থাকুন, আমাদের চ্যানেলটি অবশ্যই সাবস্ক্রাইব করুন। আমরা ফেসবুকেও আছি কোয়ারেন্টাইন স্টোরিজ বলে, এবং তার পাশাপাশি আমরা ইনস্টাগ্রামেও রয়েছি। তো সব জায়গায় আমাদের লাইক করুন, সাবস্ক্রাইব করুন, এবং স্টে টিউন। খুব তাড়াতাড়ি আমরা এই সাক্ষাৎকারের পরবর্তী অংশ নিয়ে আসছি। থ্যাংক ইউ।